Greetings of the day, everyone. I am privileged to welcome you all to the third edition of the Orange City Literature Festival, organized by SGR Knowledge Foundation in association with G.H. Raizoni University, powered by the Raizoni Group of Institutions. I am Miki Singh and delighted to be your anchor for today's session, Sita, A Tale of Ancient Love by Bhanumati Narasimhan, in conversation with Rajita Kulkarni Bagga. Bhanumati Narasimhan is the younger sister of Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. She shares his vision of a stress-free, violence-free planet. She is a meditation teacher and leads the women's welfare and childcare initiatives at the Art of Living that now supports 723 schools with over 72,000 underprivileged children, an author of best-selling books which have been translated into 22 world languages. She holds a master's degree in Sanskrit literature from Bangalore University. She's a singer and has created soulful albums of sacred chants and melodious bhajans. It's an honor to have you with us, Mrs. Bhanumati Narasimhan, and this gets even more delightful as we have Rajita Kulkarni Bagga, who will be in conversation with her as the moderator. Rajita Kulkarni Bagga is the president of the World Forum for Ethics in Business based in Brussels. For the last 3 decades, she has held workshops in leadership excellence, meditation, and capacity building all around the world for diverse audiences, from Fortune 100 executives to senior government staff, political leaders, and youth from over 50 countries. As the president of Sri Sri University at Bhubaneswar, she is one of India's leading women educators today. Now, my dear audience, you're about to experience a conversation between two very dynamic individuals So, without losing a moment, I invite Rajita Kulkarni Bagga to lead us ahead.
Bhanumati, hearty welcome. I'm so happy that we are having this conversation. Sita has been a subject of great curiosity for me when we were younger, Didi. I have heard people say in the family that you should not name your daughter Sita. You should always term it with Sita Lakshmi. So I was always very curious about the life of Sita. So thank you firstly for writing this book. And I want to start our conversation by asking you, why did you feel the need to write a book on Sita?
As you rightly said, she has been in all our life. She has been a part of our life. Incidentally, my grandmother's name is Sita Lakshmi. I have been always enamored, or I would say so drawn to her story of strength, confidence, courage. Right when we were very small young children, my father used to narrate to us stories from Ramayana, Mahabharata and all. My favorite would be Sita. All the time I'll tell more about Sita. And of course, there are many misnomers and people have portrayed her in a different light. But to me, Sita has been always a figure of courage and strength. So that is what I wanted to bring it out in my book, that how that subtle strength and that beauty in Sita, which is like I would say strength, at the same time that serenity, the delicate balance between strength and serenity. She has all these beautiful qualities that a woman can aspire, imbibe. When you see so much of suffering in the world, we have seen these past 2 years, all alike, whether rich or poor, they have suffered the loss of family. Then there is death lurking at every corner. There was so much of fear and anxiety. So this was a time when Gurudev encouraged everybody to meditate and also be creative, write some poetry, write some stories and all. He used to encourage. So I took the cue and I said, let me write about Sita, because there has always been so many answered questions. Not that I have answered everything in this, but there were many gray areas that we could have really understood in a different light. And I have been fortunate to learn these from my father, who had the scientific temperament, and he would explain in a very scientific way what does it mean, all these Puranas, all these stories. And I found that pride and in all our ancient literature and our scriptures. I used to really love it and said, look at this wealth of knowledge, that wealth of wisdom that is available right in front of us. In fact, yesterday I was telling somebody that when you read something when you are 20 or 15 or 20, you have a different connotation. There is some other level of understanding. When you read the same thing, same book when you are 40, it makes a different sense to you, and when you are around 60 there is a different level of understanding, and there is a appreciation is different level, isn't it? So I was so drawn to Tulsidas Ramayana or Kamba Ramayana, Adbhut Ramayana. Everywhere I did some research, studied, and all this have given me that insight, because even as a child I used to really not like Rama, because around Rama we used to say, oh, why did he treat Sita so badly and all. But now I saw the Rama different from the eye of the Sita, and what you see is pure love. So this gave me more peace for myself. Perhaps that's why I wrote this.
Wow, this is so beautiful, Didi. You spoke about Sita having that strength and serenity. And as you rightly said, actually your book is such a gift coming at this difficult time in the world, where I think all of us are seeking that strength from within us with that sense of calm. So that's really beautiful. Didi, you spoke just now about some grey areas that you feel that should have been maybe clarified. Tell us a little bit about what are these grey areas?
I just wanted to bring to light her strength. What was her strength? The physical prowess is not strength, what we mean. There was a subtle strength in her. This we can all learn from her. It is not just a physical prowess, that money power or the muscle power that matters. There is something subtle than that. In fact, mental health was big challenge in the whole global issue it was. So if you look at that, for me, a mind that is in the present moment, the mind that is unfazed by any adversities or untouched by negativity, and yet full of confidence and I would say trust and faith, that is a healthy mind. That is what Sita represents to me. She had, if you see what all she did not face, so many problems. If you see, she was a princess, and then how overnight she had to leave the comfort of the palace and go to a forest, which she willingly did it. That shows her courage and confidence. King Janaka, her father, had seen to it that she was nowhere any less than a prince. Even she was trained in all the 64 kalas, and she was so strong and a total complete personality, ready to win any situation. That was her personality, where she had to be following somebody meek. Usually they project her as meek and submissive, which is not at all true. Here she willingly put her comfort back, and then somebody else's, like she put the love in above comforts. That shows her character, that refinement of her character, that elevated consciousness, that is so beautiful in Sita. And it is also like she had total passion and also compassion and dispassion, you can say. See, wow, overnight she changed into simple clothes and just left to the forest with the husband. on her own. When Rama said, no, please don't come, there are hardship in the thing, she insisted that, she quoted her father that my father has said, follow him in all the dharma. That is why, wife is called Sahadharmini. Anything, everything you have to share, right? Whether goodness or hardships. And she quoted this dharma, and then she said, no, I am coming with you. Mind was so like, no complaints, no judgments. So this is the strength that she had, the subtle strength. For example, in the Shiva Dhanush, that is the most famous story in Ramayana, right? So where she had this, as a mere child, she could lift effortlessly the Shiva Dhanush, which hundreds of soldiers could not even move it an inch, and even Ravana could not lift it. But she could effortlessly, it was like a feather in her hand, so also in Rama's hand. So here we feel that when you feel the connection to the source, she had, the others had the connection to Shiva Dhanush. Both Rama and Sita had a connection to the higher self, that is Shiva in himself. Like that, when we connect to the nature, when we connect to the source, that was her connection. That is what I was saying, that when the drop connects to the ocean, it feels the strength of the ocean. And that is how, when we connect to the whole universe, you gain strength from the universe. This is the subtle strength we're talking about,
Didi, when you speak about Sita, she seems like the epitome of all things great and amazing. So much courage, serenity, so much fortitude, acceptance. So if we look at the world around us today, how can any of us aspire to have, to be like that kind of a character, like you are saying? What is your insight from this? What can, because today when young girls, for example, will read this book, so is she unachievable, or how can I aspire to be like that?
She had all these beautiful qualities, so that's what we see in a role model. She was an iconic figure, right? She can be a role model for all of us, any generation. So how she can be is by her mental strength only. If you see nowadays, main thing that we are suffering is mental health. At the drop of a hat, we have emotional imbalance. Suddenly you're happy and then unhappiness, like the happiness quotient has really deteriorated. So because of our own, the mind is not so strong. Gurudev often says, a strong mind can carry a weak body, but a weak mind cannot even carry a strong body, right? Sometimes, of course, we do all the practices, pranayama, meditation, all these things will help us. But even to read about these personalities who, it is not like somebody who is airy-fairy, it's not some personality which is not there. These are all itihasa. It's from this story happened. So we know that this is a possibility. She went through all these things and still came out shining successfully, right? In that way, we can definitely draw inspiration how to be strong, and then how to keep our mind unfazed in spite of adversities or untouched by negativity, because our mind tends to hold on to negativity more than positivity, right? She was like more gunagrahi. Gunagrahi means when you just go get attracted to positivity more than the negativity. Life has everything, duality. It has goodness, badness, everything is there. But what you focus will grow. Our consciousness, whatever you focus on, that grows more. So that is where we can practice this. So always, if you see, happiness is an attitude which we can definitely practice, right? When you have a calm and serene mind, peaceful mind, that is the sign of success. A sign of success is where you have a undying smile, you have no doubt, isn't it? And you want to share and care, and support others also, not think only of oneself but how to uplift others. These were the nature of Sita.
Didi, so today we talk about success. Everybody wants to be successful. You know, look at her life, it was full of strife, in a sense, the way we know it. Would you say she had a successful life?
Whatever was the challenge, she had a undying smile on her, no? She really focused on Rama's happiness than her own. If you see, that is the beauty of Sita, that she could understand him and how he would react at that time. So they were like mirroring each other. Even Rama was so much in love with Sita. Theirs was a eternal, you can say that unconditional love. That is why even to this day, after 7,500 years, this whole Ramayana is still, we are all talking about them. So that itself shows that she was successful, that Sita was, still now we all talk about Sita, we sing about her, and whether we talk positive or negative, still we mention her. These things are the success, isn't it? In spite of so much of happening around her, she could keep that harmony, that peace within her. If you see, she was such a influence. Even in spite, when Rama sent her, even when she was pregnant, she went to the forest on her own. She did not harness any bitterness in her, nor did she pass it on to her children. In fact, she gave values like compassion, values like caring, and then courage. She only nourished such good qualities in the children also, and later they became good leaders. She never even complained. That is the best quality in her. She never said, what happened, why my mother-in-laws did not support me, or nothing. No such complaint you can hear from her. So these are all, I feel, that sign of success. No? Otherwise, at the drop of the hat, you can complain about anything. That is what we are used to now. We hear so many of us, we do have, we complain if it's nothing else, you have everything, at least you will complain about politics or about the weather, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that was not in her. That I feel is a sign of success. You can really, ample examples are there when you can find this is what is success, this is what a real life, It's not like I am successful according to this table. No, it's not like that. Given such a situation, others would have broken, and she was so strong.
And that is my next question, Didi, because when you read the story of Rama and Sita, I read the excerpt where you have written about Hanuman bringing the ring, and you have written how she feels the cool ring in her palm, and with that she feels her Lord in its whole entirety. Now, when I was reading it, I had goosebumps, like I had tears in my eyes, because with those words you can feel that love. So today, Didi, in the world, if you see, relationships are so shallow sometimes, so fickle, easy to break. What out of Ram and Sita's relationship, what can we take out of it for our own lives today?
Yeah, if you see the world through Sita's eyes today, there would be more harmony. There will be all inclusivity, acceptance, more tolerance, and women would come to the forefront and take more responsibilities and not just wait for something to change. At the same time, I would say, as a family, the family will be very greatly benefited. There will be more harmony and peace in the family because of the acceptance. Without accepting, life becomes a struggle for us. It is becoming individualistic rather than all inclusivity. Of course, we need to focus on ourselves also, there should be. But then life is a combination of attending to oneself at the same time, because we live in a society, we are gregarious, right? And we are social beings. We are interdependent on each other. So when it comes to the mind, it should be independent, but when it comes to the physical plane, interdependence is the mantra, right? So that is when we see that Sita was such a powerhouse. And then at the same time she showed to the world that how all the single women, they can gain confidence, courage from her, that how she brought up the child, both the children, for 14 years, almost 12 to 14 years they were in the forest, without any bitterness, without complaining, without even teaching them something, your father is like that, or she never let the children have any doubt. So that is a big quality, that is one of the best qualities one can imbibe, and all the single women can draw strength from her nature, character, and not complain about it, about life, definitely make life a better place for themselves and others, right? And I would say youth can draw inspiration about sharing and caring, but that's what she did her whole life. Behind every personality there is love, and behind every event there is wisdom. It's so beautiful, if you want to learn about all our great scriptures. From her life we can learn so much of wisdom and knowledge. It's full of knowledge, at the same time experience that divine love, that unconditional love she showered on everyone.
I want to ask you a little bit about the process of writing. So when you started it, did you have certain idea, but as you kept writing and now that it is complete, is it any different? How did you feel, Sita, when you were writing? Tell us a little bit about this process.
I decided that my Sita is confident and happy. This is what I decided in the beginning, because I have, as you in the beginning told me, how they were even hesitating to keep the name Sita. I have heard this, and my grandmother's name is Sita Lakshmi. They added one Lakshmi to it. So I was saying, I am not going to focus on this, that my Sita is a happy Sita. So I joyfully wrote about it, and the whole thing is gave me so much of joy. I tell you, I'm not. It's not something mood making or anything. It just unfolded the whole thing, and then everything that I would only look at Sita, I'll think, oh, Sita would have thought like this. So it was like the whole thing came alive, and all the scriptures made more sense to me. I was just astounded by the wisdom and the way they expressed themselves, that is. This is just a minuscule. What I have written is just, like that. What we have in already, you have to read Kamba Ramayana, or you have to read Tulsidas Ramayana. Oh, it is so. We are full of reverence to Rama and Sita. That is the space one need to get. That is the ultimate goal of any writer. That if it leaves them in a space of wonderment, because life has anyways it has duality, it is dvandva sahita, isn't it? Life has all goodness and badness together. It is a package of both happiness and sorrow. Everything is there. In spite of all this, you are something, you can be untouched, unfazed by all this negativity or by duality or any hardships. Like Padma Patra Mivambasi, Krishna said, in Bhagavad Gita. So that is the spirit of all these great poets, saint poets, who have written this, and with so much of reverence. And if they can write so nicely about even Ravan, what all the good qualities he had, but there was some little thing that led you to, that. But there was a purpose for Ravana also, right? A good story, if it needs a villain also. Yes. Otherwise, there is no thrill in it. And there's a Rama came and he was very good king and he lived and he went. Now Ravana makes it more interesting. You can see the lighter side of life also. Life is not always so heavy with. It need not be a burden for us, bogged down by such facts. So there were many Vanaras also who and then so many squirrels also acted, done their part. So you are including flora and fauna, everything there. You draw strength from creation. You are in touch with the creation. So that is how it explains the positivity, that beautiful vibration Ramayana gives us. Yeah.
Again and again you are saying this, and it is really staying with me. First is, it is our choice. The state of our mind is our choice, and it is possible for us to cultivate a positive state of mind.
100%.
And you said how Sita was gunagrahi, that she would naturally get attracted to positive things. I think it is such an important message, especially for all our younger generation, because everybody is surrounded by so many pressures and attractions, stimulations, that you sometimes can get little waylaid, but it is possible for us to stay on the right, stay on the positive.
Sita, what all she went through, none of us have the strength to go through all that, but she came out shining, right, and faced. So like that, even whenever we have any challenge, we don't have to ignore it. It's not saying, oh, everything is all right. We have to be assertive and then act upon it. Need not be aggressive. That's what she taught us. And at the same time, their problems are there, but solutions also come its way when you wait in patience. Little bit you have to understand the problem, whatever is there, we say this is how it is, now accept it and then act upon it. Not accepting passively, that was not her nature. Yeah. It was not, and she never felt oppressed, suppressed, not at all. She was not such a personality. She was like a full courageous woman, yeah? Courageous princess.
Didi, you're talking about suppression or oppression. In the world today, we talk about women empowerment, that women should be empowered and we should fight for our rights or equality. But if you look at all the women in Ramayana, Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, Sita, Urmila, Mandodari, Ahilya, Shabri, to that extent even Shurpanakha, their lives are stories of commitment, courage, sacrifice, devotion.
They all had a purpose.
Yes.
So they all had something major role.
Yeah, so the women of Ramayana, Didi, 7,500 years ago, showed, displayed or manifested by their behavior, they were more empowered than anything. Like Sita took the decision that I will go on exile. She was not being allowed, but she stood her ground. So I think this is such a huge strength for women today to draw. So anything you would like to speak more about the women of Ramayana, Didi? What more can we draw out from their lives?
Courage, they had confidence, they had pure love, sacrifice was one of them, and then commitment, and goal was their own happiness also, like Shurpanakha wanted to be happy, right? So these things stand out even now. These are the things that we all aspire for. And a committed mind is a beautiful mind. Only thing is you have to look at what you are committed to. What is the stand you are taking? So if you are committed with the attached to the dharma, then your life is a smooth journey. If you are attached and committed to the dharma, then we have to face our hardships, like the asuras and divine beings. That we have stories, we have seen how why asuras are committed. They are also committed, but the commitment is taken the wrong side, right? So that is where Viveka is so important. That is where even there they have emphasized on the presence of the Guru. So every time their Guru will come and advise them. So in that way, life guide is so important. That is why Guru means, the word Guru itself means guide. Guide through all these rough roads, and that's into smoothness, into comfort, into the right path.
Didi, a few minutes ago you were saying that she knew she had come for a purpose and she was living through that. So what should we understand out of it? We are also born for a certain purpose. How do we know it? How do we navigate ourselves to it? And then whatever life throws at us, does it mean it is all destined? Help us understand this.
First of all, what is the purpose of life? We have to keep searching for it. We have to keep understanding if you see when we were small, our purpose was different. It keeps changing, all this dynamic, in fact, our purpose. But the more you become intuitive through meditation, through spiritual practices, it is unveiled to you. It's very obvious for us. We have not come here to cry, we have not come here to be in anger all the time, we have not come here to be aggressive, we have not come here to be lamenting, or being unhappy for that matter. So our whole purpose is towards happiness, right? So then we have a clarity, and then when we follow our dream or follow our purpose with purity at heart, because there is a clarity in mind, purity in the heart, and then sincerity in action. It's not like just dreaming. We need to focus. We say, okay, we do this, we are committed to achieve this, then life is a celebration. Yeah. So that is where intuitive knowledge, that only can happen when we have this human birth is so precious. So when we have got this human birth, this is a precious birth, we can cultivate that attitude of happiness. Yeah.
Didi, what a enchanting and insightful and deeply moving conversation this was. I want to again, on behalf of all of us, say a big thank you to you for writing this book and once again bringing to life the love and the devotion and the commitment and the exemplary example of Sita to all of us, and especially at this time in the world where we are still recovering from the pandemic, and I think all of us need that boost of inner strength. So thank you for bringing this book to us. I have ordered my copy, and all of us can order our copies on Amazon. It's already available, and I can guarantee you that every word will leave your eye moist, because that's what it did to me when I read the excerpts. So thank you very much, Didi. It was a great, great joy and pleasure, honor for me to have this conversation.
Thank you.
At the outset, I would like to thank Bhanumati Narasimhan and Rajita Kulkarni Baga for joining us today. I am sure that after witnessing this conversation, you all are taking home an enriched version of yourself, just as I am. Thank you for joining us today. Until I see you again, this is Nikki Singh signing off.
To Rise Sony Group, a vision beyond.